Hey y'all. So, $1 million advice. I've been asking a lot of questions about how you're supposed to breathe. Do people snore? Do they breathe in through their nose? Do they breathe in through their mouth? Because what I'm really trying to get at is, do people properly breathe? And I knew the answer to the question already. The answer is typically no. Um, but we can get into all that later. So, the best piece of advice that I can give anybody, it doesn't matter if you exercise or not, it doesn't matter if you care to exercise or not. But in terms of your health and overall proper health and proper breathing, which includes breathing without snoring, walking upstairs without losing your breath, we need to focus on the most important muscle of that equation, and that most important muscle is your diaphragm. It doesn't work to the extent that it needs to, and that's because when we sit down in a contracted position, what ends up happening is that our rib cage, the muscles in between our ribs, our intercostals, and all the other muscles shorten and contract and really create this rigid cage around our lungs. And when we try to breathe in properly, we end up having to make space up here, mouth breathing, upper chest breathing, upper lung lobe breathing, when we really should be focusing more on the lateral expansion of our lower lobes of our lungs, the lateral expansion of our torso and our abdomen. So what that looks like really typically so what that looks like really is, right? So I don't know if you could see that from here, but I'm focusing on pulling my rib cage outward, not forward, but rather laterally. It should start here. Next step would be abdomen comes forward. Last step should be rib cage, chest rises. This should be the last piece of the breathing equation, the inhalation equation. So and that last inhale was perfect. It takes me a couple breaths to get into it. It'll probably take you a couple of breaths to get into it too, and that's okay. Breathing is something we do all day long, many, many times. So take a few breaths or more than a few breaths and treat it as a warm up. Think about it in three stages. Okay, inhale through the nose, lateral expansion of the abdomen first. Second, forward expansion of the abdomen. There's not going to be really much there if you do this right. And then lastly, the chest can rise. Top that off. Otherwise, you're really trying to fill the top of the glass first, and I don't know what the hell that means, but it doesn't work. So, the lower lobes of the lungs, they have such a much greater capacity in order to transfuse the gases in and out of our bloodstream than the upper lobes of our lungs. So, we really want to focus on this, okay? Lastly, final point I want to make, in through the nose, out through the nose, 100% of the time. Mouth is not a breathing organ. Mouth is made for eating and biting. The nose is made for breathing, inhalation and exhalation. Cool experiment that I want you to do if you feel like that might be contrary to, popular opinion. Exhaling through the nose allows our sinus cavity to reabsorb a lot of the moisture that it uses to condition the air that we breathe in and moisturize our upper airways and our lungs. So breathing out, allowing our body to recapture that moisture, all right, you'll actually lose 30% less moisture, less water from your body when you breathe out through your nose than if you breathe out through your mouth. And you can prove this. Take a mirror or a glass. You can normally fog it up with your mouth. Go ahead, fog it up with your mouth, and then I want you to try to fog it breathing out through your nose. Doesn't happen. Why doesn't it happen? Because there's less moisture in the air that you exhale through your nose. It allows your body to recapture that and reuse it. So, so important. So, so critical. Give that a shot. Lateral expansion, forward expansion, rib cage rises. Step 1, 2, and 3. Lastly, inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. We could talk about the rest later. Good luck.